Hello, my name is Eric Kehl, and I'm the police chief for the city of Delafield in Wisconsin. We were notified by our public library that they were having problems filling time for young residents. So I volunteered, and eventually some other members will participate as well, to video ourselves reading a child's book that could be viewed at home. I hope you enjoy this. And the book I chose is Babar the King by Jean de Brunhoff. I realize there's numerous ways to pronounce the main character, but this book was read to me by my mom as a little guy, and she always used Babar, so that's the way I'll be saying it. Shall we begin? Off in the country of elephants, King Babar and Queen Celeste are rejoicing. They have signed a treaty of peace with the rhinoceros, and their friend, the old lady, has consented to remain with them. She often tells the elephants' children stories. Her little monkey, Zephyr, perched up in a tree, also listens. So here we have Babar and Celeste, and the old lady, and Zephyr's hiding way up in the corner. Leaving the old lady with Queen Celeste, Babar is gone for a walk along the banks of a large lake with Cornelius, the oldest and wisest of the elephants. And he says to him, "This countryside is so beautiful that I would like to see it every day as I wake up. We must build our city here. Our houses shall be on the shores of the lake and shall be surrounded with flowers and birds." Zephyr, who has followed them, would like to catch a butterfly he sees. So there we have Babar and Cornelius in front of the lake with Zephyr and his butterfly. While chasing the butterfly, Zephyr meets his friend Arthur, the young cousin of the king and queen, who is amusing himself hunting for snails. All of a sudden they see 1, 2, 3, 4 dromedaries, 5, 6, 7 dromedaries, 8, 9, 10. There are more than they can count. And the chief of the cavalcade calls to them, "Can you please tell us where we can find Babar?" Here we have Arthur and Zephyr and the dromedaries. Escorted by Arthur and Zephyr, the dromedaries have found Babar. They are bringing him all his heavy baggage and all the things which he had bought out in the big world during his honeymoon. Babar thanks them. "You must be tired, gentlemen. Why don't you rest under the shade of the palm trees?" Then, turning to the old lady and to Cornelius, he says, "Now we will be able to build our city." Having called an assembly of the elephants, Babar climbs up on a packing case and, in a loud voice, proclaims the following words. "My friends, I have in these trunks, these bales, and these sacks, gifts for each of you. There are dresses, suits, hats and materials, paint boxes, drums, fishing tackle and rods, ostrich feathers, tennis rackets, and many other things. I will divide all this among you as soon as we have finished building our city. This city, the city of elephants, I would like to suggest that we name Celesteville in honor of your queen." All the elephants raised their trunks and cried, "What a great idea! What an excellent idea!" The elephants set to work quickly. Arthur and Zephyr hand out the tools. Babar tells each one what he should do. He marks with signboards where the streets and houses should go. He orders some to cut down trees, some to move stones, others to saw wood and dig holes. With what joy they all strive to do their best. The old lady is playing the phonograph for them, and from time to time Babar plays on his trumpet. He is fond of music. All elephants are, as happy as he is. They drive nails, draw logs, pull and push, dig, fetch and carry, opening their big ears wide as they work. So here we have Babar making his proclamation, and the other elephants agreeing, and they're setting to work. Over in the big lake, the fish are complaining among themselves. We can't even sleep peacefully any longer, they say. These elephants make the most dreadful noise. What are they building? When we jump out of the water, we really haven't time to see clearly. We'll have to ask the frogs what it is all about. So there's the fish discussing and a couple of frogs. The birds also gathered together to discuss what the elephants were up to. The pelicans and the flamingos, the ducks and the ibis, and even the smaller birds all twittered, chirped, and quacked. And the parrots enthusiastically kept repeating, "Come and see Celestville, the most beautiful of all cities. Come and see Celestville, the most beautiful of all cities." Here we have the birds. Here's Celestville. The elephants have just finished building it and are resting or bathing. Babar goes for a sail with Arthur and Zephyr. He is well satisfied and admires his new capital. Each elephant has his own house. The old lady's is at the upper left. The one for the king and queen is in the upper right. The big lake is visible from all their windows. The Bureau of Industry is next door to the amusement hall, which will be very practical and convenient. So there we have the old lady's house, Babar's house, the amusement hall, the Bureau of Industry, and then everyone's individual house with Babar sailing. Today, Babar keeps his promise. He gives a gift to each elephant and also serviceable clothes suitable for work days and beautiful rich clothes for holidays. After thanking their king most heartily, the elephants all go home dancing with glee. So there they are, entering Babar's home and leaving with glee. Babar has decided that next Sunday all the elephants will dress up in their best clothes and assemble in the gardens of the amusement park. The gardeners have much to do. They rake the paths, water the flower beds, and set out the last flower pots. Here are the gardeners working away. The elephant children are planning a surprise for Babar and Celeste. They have asked Cornelius to teach them the Song of the Elephants. Arthur had the idea. They are very attentive, keep time, and will know it perfectly by Sunday. They're learning the song, and here is the song, music, and words. I'm not going to try to sing it, but if you want to pause and try on your own, that would be encouraged. The cooks are hurriedly preparing cakes and dainties of all kinds. Queen Celeste comes to help them. Zephyr comes too with Arthur. He tastes the vanilla cream to see if it is just right. First he puts in his finger, then his hand, and then his arm. Arthur is dying of envy and would like to stick his trunk in it. Here we're cooking, and there's Zephyr putting his whole arm. In order to have one last taste, Zephyr bends his head, sticks out his tongue, and ploof! In he falls head first. At this sound, the chief cook looks around and, greatly annoyed, fishes him out by the tail. The soup chef bursts out laughing. Arthur hides. Poor little Zephyr is a sight, all yellow and sticky. Celeste scolds him and goes off to clean him up. And there we have Zephyr, after getting dragged from the cream. Sunday comes at last. In the gardens of the amusement park, the elephants saunter about dressed magnificently. The children have sung their songs. Babar has kissed each one. The cakes were delicious. What a wonderful day. Unfortunately, it is over all too soon. The old lady is already organizing the last round of hide and seek. find the old lady? She's right in the center organizing. The next day after their morning dip in the lake, the children go to school. They are glad to find their dear teacher, the old lady, waiting for them. Lessons are never tiresome when she teaches. After having settled the little ones at their desks, she turns her attention to the older ones and asks them, 2 times 2? 3, answers Arthur. No, no, 4, said his neighbor oddly. For that's what we study for, sang Zephyr. 4, repeated Arthur. I'll never forget that again, teacher. Here we are in school. Here we are learning. All the elephants who are too old to attend classes have chosen a trade. For example, Trepitor is a cobbler, Philophage an officer, Capelus is a doctor, Barbacal is tailor, Podular a sculptor, and Hatchababatar is a street cleaner. Dolomar is a musician, Olur is a mechanic, Potiphar is a farmer, Fandango is a learned man, Justinian is a painter, and Coco a clown. If Capelus has holes in his shoes, he brings them to Tapador, and if Tapador is sick, Capelus takes care of him. If Barbacal wants a statue for his mantelpiece, he asks Podular to carve one for him. And when Podular's coat is worn out, Barbacal makes a new one to order for him. Justinian paints a portrait of Philophage, who will protect him against his enemies. Hatchabambator cleans the streets, Olur repairs the automobiles, and when they are all tired, Dolomar plays his cello to entertain them. After having settled grave problems, Fandango relaxes and eats some of Potiphar's fruits. As for Coco, he keeps them all laughing and gay. And here are our citizens of Babar City. Can you pick out which one is which? At Celesteville, all the elephants work in the morning, and in the afternoon they can do as they please. They play, go for walks, read, and dream. Babar and Celeste like to play tennis with Mr. and Mrs. Philophage. Play tennis. Cornelius, Fandango, Podular, and Capelus prefer to play bowls. The children play with Coco the clown. Arthur and Zephyr have put on masks. There's a shallow pool in which to sail their boats, and there are many other games besides. Here we have everyone playing. But what the elephants like best of all is the theater in the amusement park. Every day, early in the morning, Hatchabambator sprinkles the streets with his motor sprinkler. When Arthur and Zephyr meet him, they quickly take off their shoes and run after the car barefoot. Oh, what a fine shower, they say laughingly. Unfortunately, Babar caught them at it one day. No dessert for either of you, you rascals. Arthur and Zephyr are mischievous, as are all little boys, but they are not lazy. Babar and Celeste visit the old lady and are amazed to hear them play the violin and cello. It is wonderful, says Celeste, and Babar adds, my dear children, I am indeed pleased with you. Go to the pastry shop and select whatever cakes you like. Arthur and Zephyr are very happy to have had all the cakes they wanted. But they are even more delighted when at the distribution of prizes they hear Cornelius read out, "First prize for music, a tie between Arthur and Zephyr." Very proudly, with wreaths on their heads, they went back to their seats. After having rewarded the good scholars, Cornelius made a noble speech. "And now, I wish you all a pleasant holiday," he ended up. Everyone clapped hard and applauded loudly. Then, quite weary, he sat down. But alas and alack, his fine hat was on the chair, and he crushed it completely. "A regular pancake," said Zephyr. Cornelius was aghast, and sadly looked at what was left of his hat. What would he wear on the next formal occasion? Here we are, sitting on the hat. The old lady promises Cornelius to sew some plumes on his old derby, and in order to console him further, she invites him to go for a ride on the new merry-go-round which Babar has just had built. Modular has carved the animals, Justinian has painted them, and the motor was installed by Allar. All three of them are very skillful. They have also made the king's mechanical horse. Allar has just oiled it, and Babar is winding it up. He wants to give it a final trial before the big celebration on the anniversary of the founding of Celestville. The weather is perfect the day of the celebration. Arthur marches at the head of the parade with Zephyr and the band. Cornelius follows, his hat completely transformed. Then come the soldiers and the trades companies. All those who are not marching are watching this unforgettable spectacle. Here's the parade. All the elephants. On his way home from the celebration, Zephyr notices a curious stick. He goes to pick it up. Horrors! It is a snake which rears its head and hisses, and cruelly bites the old lady who tries to hide Zephyr in her arms. Arthur furiously smashes his bugle on the snake's back and kills it. The old lady's arm swells rapidly and she hastens to the hospital. Dr. Kapelos takes care of her and gives her a hypodermic of serum. Zephyr sadly remains near his mistress. She is very ill. "I can't tell you until tomorrow whether she will get well," Kapelos tells Babar. And if you can't tell, it goes in order, like you're reading a book. As Babar leaves the hospital, he hears cries of "Fire! Fire!" Cornelius's house is on fire. The stairway is already full of smoke. The firemen succeed in rescuing Cornelius, but he is half suffocated and a burning beam has injured him. Kapelos, summoned in great haste, gives him first aid before having him moved to the hospital. The match, which Cornelius thought he had thrown into the ashtray, but which had actually fallen, still lighted in the trash basket, had been enough to start this terrible fire. That night, when Babar goes to bed, he shuts his eyes, but cannot sleep. What a dreadful day, he thinks. It began so well. Why did it have to end so badly? Before these two accidents, we were all so happy and peaceful at Celestville. We had forgotten that misfortune existed. Oh, my dear old Cornelius, and you, dear old lady, I would give my crown to see you cured. Kapelos was to telephone me any news. Oh, how long this night seems, and how worried I am. Babar finally drops off to sleep, but his sleep is restless, and soon he dreams. He hears a knocking on his door. Tap, tap, tap. Then a voice says to him, "It is I, Misfortune, with some of my companions, come to pay you a visit." Babar looks out of the window and sees a frightful old woman surrounded by flabby, ugly beasts. He opens his mouth to shut. Ugh, go away. But he stops to listen to a very faint noise. Fur, fur, fur. As of birds flying in a flock, and he sees coming towards him graceful winged elephants who chase misfortune away from Celestville and bring back happiness. At this point he wakes and feels ever so much better. And here we have Misfortune and the other bad creatures in Babar's dream. And then the good elephants who come to help Celestville in his dream. The good elephants are named Intelligence, Goodness, Hope, Love, Health, Happiness, Joy, Learning, Work, Patience, Perseverance, and Courage. Babar dresses and runs to the hospital. Oh joy! What does he see? His two patients walking in the garden. He can hardly believe his eyes. "We are all well again," says Cornelius, "but all this excitement has made me hungry as a wolf. Let's get some breakfast, and then later we'll rebuild my house." So there we are. A week later, in Babar's drawing room, the old lady says to her two friends, "Do you see how in this life one must never be discouraged? The vicious snake didn't kill me, and Cornelius is completely recovered. Let's work hard and cheerfully, and we'll continue to be happy." And since that day, over in Elephant's country, everyone has been happy and contented. The end. Thank you very much for spending some time with me. We will try to follow up with more installments when we can. Everybody be safe, be healthy, and take care of each other. Thank you.